Hey, welcome to a glimpse into the moment. Oh, gosh. So much is just swirling through my head as life swirls about me. Change. Oh, what a beast. Change is one moment like the villain in a Disney movie or, Jack the Ripper. And the next, it is like heaven, right? It's a roller coaster. It literally, once you embrace change, it literally just grabs onto you, and it's like being strapped as a tandem jumper on, your first skydiving attempt, which I haven't done yet. Literally used to be on my bucket list. I wonder if it still will be when I get on the other side of some of this change. Anyway, this is not about skydiving, but it is about change. And right now I feel like change just grabbed my tandem vest and Velcro and buckled me and strapped me right to it. And it's just diving out of a plane. And we are just like free falling from like an atmospheric level, because it is really hard to breathe sometimes through it. I've talked so much or written so much or thought so much about expectations, and there's no expectations. But I have realized over the last couple of weeks how expectations have stayed in my life in some ways, because there is a level of expectation that I think comes with being alive, right? But it's hard to, and this is where the change comes in. It's a learning process. It's not hard. It's just being aware and being open to the fact that things change, and you have to let go of everything and allow it to change. And those expectations, even the really small ones, right, that you might have had in friendships, in people who love you. We all have people who love us. Even if you think you don't have anybody who loves you, somebody probably does. You're just not recognizing it yet. When change comes from those safe spaces that we love, it can be really threatening to your stability, to your ability to embrace change, to your ability to fly. And it turns into a free fall from atmospheric levels, tandem strapped to a crazy, freaking monster that wants to consume you. And suddenly you realize that you're, without even thinking about it, you're employing some of the anti-panic attack measures to ground yourself from the free fall consuming you. So there's a positive change. Let's talk about a positive change for a moment. Being able to automatically jump into anti-panic attack measures, those grounding things, those tangible things, like literally touching something. For me, it is something real or something rough. Not soft. Soft stuff does not help me. It just speeds it up. I think I liken it to if I were sliding down a cliff, if the cliff face were mossy and wet, I would fall really fast, right? So soft stuff is a wet, mossy, free fall inducing agent. While rough things is like, God, I can grab onto that and I can hold on right here and I can survive. So, even though I embraced change quite a long time ago, and I realized that no control, no expectations brings nothing but change, it doesn't make it easier. It doesn't make it any less confusing at times. Because I think the thing that is really hard to put at the front of your story is that you're not the only one changing, and you're not the only one struggling, and you're not the only one falling off a cliff sometimes. Every direction that you look, people have stories, and they are bumbling through their life just the best that they can, exactly like you. Exactly. I was that girl. As an adult. I was that woman. Still learning who I am. I was that woman who everybody looked at and thought, she has got it together. She has got it going on. So I know that everybody struggles because I was the girl who looked like she wasn't. And every time I entered this house, it was like walking into a coffin, into a prison, into hell. Getting in the car sometimes was like that. Well, most of the time, that's why we didn't often ride together. Anyway, hold on and visit with me on the other side of the break. We'll talk a little bit more about change. Welcome back. Oh gosh. Close your eyes for a moment. Well, if you're driving, don't close your eyes. Scratch that. Keep your eyes open. If you are not driving or in a dangerous situation, just close your eyes for a moment and think of something incredibly peaceful. Embrace it. It's your safe space, right? It's your happy space. It's a place that you know and you understand. And it could be a person, it could be a room, it could be a place. But now, if it's a room, change the color. Change the furniture. Take away your favorite blanket. Lose your favorite book. Still just lay in that room. If it's a person, take away the conversation. Take away whatever it is that you held in high regard. And allow them the grace, right? We're just imagining. Allow them the grace. They get to change and they get to be who they need to be. But in your safe space, like, right, you got your eyes closed or you're driving along and you're just meditating on this in your safe space, whatever that may look like. Maybe it's with your dog, but your dog gets injured. That actually happened in our house recently. In that safe space that you have pictured, and now you've pictured it with your changes applied. Do you feel the same? Does it still feel safe? I am willing to bet, even if none of the scenes of change that I threw at you apply directly to you, you can begin to see that you maybe didn't feel quite the same way when you start looking at your favorite room a little different. Your favorite blanket's gone. The colors on the walls that you loved and made you feel so comfortable, somebody came along and painted them, well, as my daughter would, hot pink. Okay, for some of you, that would be enough, right? I do have limitations on how much hot pink she can paint. But if it's a person that you were imagining, imagine that they have to retreat to heal. Or they move. Oh, God. My best friends. When she moved away, I hadn't really admitted that I was in an abusive marriage. I skirted around it, but I hadn't admitted it. And when she moved, I just had a hard time. The change came before she moved, and maybe that was her way of, helping ease the process so it wouldn't be just like ripping the Band-Aid off or, getting in my mind, all these little different scenarios like played through. Like, if you're chopping wood and you miss and the axe, wood, like even if you hit the thing, but anyway, something hits your shin when you're chopping wood and it hurts like fuck. Right? Oh my God. Because ripping a Band-Aid off isn't quite enough pain that sometimes change can bring. But when she moved, I couldn't imagine life without her. She was that valuable to me. And I didn't understand the change that preceded her moving, but I think that it was to help her transition to moving. I miss her. She's the most elegant and lovely woman I have ever known in my entire life. She is like sitting down to coffee with an old-fashioned movie star in today's world, and just all the elegance and charm and grace. And it was really hard when she left. So when you lose a friend, not really lose a friend, but they just shift, right? Because I'm still friends with her. It's just shifted. It's different. And it was hard. It was really, really hard to process that. As you feel some rejection, you feel overwhelming grief and loss. Then one day you realize that you really only have you. At that time, I didn't realize that. I was a mess then, but now I realize that, like, as changes come about, I only have me. But determining how friendships roll, what I allow, what I don't allow, it's shifting and changing myself, and it's getting stronger. I really have zero desire to talk to every person in the world anymore. I used to give space and time just to feel worthy and validation from anybody who wanted to talk to me. They probably would have access to me for a limited time, and it was really hard for me to even understand or accept when they were treating me terrible. It was really no different than the marriage I was in. I couldn't stand up there, so why would I be able to stand up to a complete stranger treating me like crap? But the very few safe spaces that emerged, oh God, they were beautiful. But at this moment, I am accepting that even those safe spaces that you create or you find have the right to change. And I have no right to have expectations on them. Yes, for those of you wondering, I did have horses when I was little, so I do make lots of horse giddy-up sounds. That's just what it is. Stick with me. I'll be right back. Hey, thanks for sticking with me. I hear pancakes and children's laughter downstairs. It's pretty amazing. Change really affected my oldest son when he was about maybe 10. He came home with Dad, and I had told everybody agreed well, the kids didn't agree, but we had talked about changing the color of the downstairs bathroom, painting it, making it kind of an ocean theme, and it really did look so much better after that change. But he came home and it was overwhelming for him. He went into an absolute shutdown. He could not, absolutely could not handle that change. I didn't understand it. We had talked about it, prepared him, but the ability to handle the change of color and decoration in this main living level bathroom threw him out of control. Looking back, I can understand it. And as we we're repainting and sprucing up the kitchen because it looks like our lives pretty battered and dirty and grimy and, quite honestly, scarred. So we are digging through that kitchen and we are cleaning it out. We are gutting it, just like these ugly fucking like packages that we all have, that we have kept locked up and tethered to us. We are ripping those bags open. We are finding the keys. We are using crowbars and we are breaking those open and we are unpacking them. And we are growing and changing. And in that kitchen, he is adamantly advocating to not change these variegated yellow. It's a deep mustardy yellow kind of, and burgundy tiles that are the backsplash. He doesn't want to change them. And honestly, I can't afford to redo the tile in the kitchen right now. So it's we would have to look into some other option of like tile staining, or I've seen some things on that. My friend referred me to some tile painting that is pretty sturdy. Anyhow, he is just like, no, they stay. And I feel like we've pushed so much change on him since separating, since filing for a divorce, since starting therapy, that's kind of his line in the sand. He's like, I'm all done. And when I look at this little corner of the kitchen, and if you go to my Instagram or my personal Instagram or Facebook pages, you'll see this little corner of my kitchen, and it so perfectly reflects the growth and change in my life. And on one end of it, it's the blue. It's the beautiful sky blue, the perfect color of the ocean at certain times of the day. And it's the work we've done. It's the hard work that we have done. And literally, we painted that, oh gosh, early summer, and it looks stunning. It went from this dark, dark, dark burgundy color that was just so oppressive to this sunshiny blue, and it's gorgeous. And the next thing you see in that corner is this really cheery, sunny, bright yellow, and that bright yellow is just getting painted. So you see behind that dark, gross burgundy shining through on the edges. And that to me represents the work that we're doing right now. And it doesn't look pretty. It is hard, just like this conversation about change. It is ugly and gross. And it comes with all those, I'm going to use air quotes here. Listen really close. It comes with all of those things called feelings. Feelings are gross. Ugh, right? We suppress them. We get all fucked up. We go through them. We get all fucked up. But the power truly is in acknowledging the feelings and moving to the edges and dealing with those things. And then above in that picture is, oh God, the cabinet. And that cabinet is really ugly. Honestly, it's wood. It's from, dated from the 90s. It just looks like it belongs in the 90s, and it has every piece of dirt and dust that came along with it. And they're packed full of gross things, and that is, in my mind, reminiscent of the work that we have yet to do. We're just not even close to being ready to unpack it, and pack it up into boxes to get the hell rid of it. But we keep it, we keep those cabinets closed, but we pretend that they're so lovely because we're just not ready for the change. That once we open one of those cabinet doors and start unpacking it, it's going to be a ton of work to do. And we're just not ready for that. And then I look at those tiles that are so important to my oldest, and the change that he doesn't want to see coming in those tiles. And maybe they won't change. Maybe we'll get everything repainted and the chipped white tiles fixed, the dishwasher replaced. And maybe we'll get on the other side of that and we'll be like, God, I like that tile. Because that's where we live. It seems to me that those tiles, they just represent our daily life, right? It's some of it we love, some of it we're like, what the hell just happened? How did how did that car drive by me and splash mud and water all over me? You're cussing them out, right? I almost said some really bad things, but anyway, you get my point. Living in life is going to expose you to hurt and heartbreak and so many ups and downs. And that's exactly what living is. And as much as the change has had me spiraling a little bit, just a little bit, not falling off a cliff, just a little bit of a spiral. Really is about that act of living, about finding I'm going to dial this into me, finding my authentic Nita. And honestly, what I learned in just the last 4 days is finding the authentic Nita, but being accountable to her. What makes Nita accountable to her? And that's a new change. That's a really positive change, to live for me. And it actually is one of the reasons that I truly believe, and I haven't got to talk to my therapist about this yet, but I truly believe that it is one of the reasons that I am able to stop the free fall from it being a wet, mossy, straight up and down 300-foot cliff that I'm trying to hold on to. And it's impossible because, right, it's wet moss. You're just going to fall right off. Versus a really steep cliff that has a lot of grippy surfaces, much like when you climb to the top of a mountain. And in my area, there's Mount McLaughlin, and I climbed it when I was, the year I graduated high school, I climbed it. And much like that, right? It's dangerous, but it's really, really, really possible. People do it all the time. I did it, and I can do that. I can hold on if I have the tools to hold on. I can make it past that moment. So, there is an example of a really amazing, positive change. I'm really proud of that change. I can see other people jumping away from it, though, like I just caught on fire. I see the vulnerability and pain in their eyes when they don't understand. I honestly more see the pain and vulnerability when they are thinking that I might bring up something that has passed. And I'm not going to, because once you have those conversations about change and you both, or you get on the other side of it, and it may be about remodeling a room, and it may be about friendships, relationships, whether or not you're going to jump into a $10,000 surgery on your dog. And yes, we just did that. And yes, I still have a teeny bit of debt from it. But no, I don't regret it. I don't regret it at all. When you get to the level of change that I just embraced, it'll make sense. It still has its moments where it hurts. And you feel like the wind is swirling around your feet. And you can feel the leaves in the autumn, right? Those dry leaves, and they kind of pick up. And they swirl. You can feel it. You can feel it starting. But you can pull back from it. And you can be okay. And you can realize that you are truly, truly only responsible for you. And that you will find people who want to be your friend and who do want to talk to you about the wind that ripped tiles off your roof last night, or how the freaking crazy, massively powerful windstorm blew open your locked door. I didn't have the deadbolt locked. But when that damn door blew open at nearly 1 a.m., guess what? Aslan got loose. And he was gone all night. Which was really freaky because there's cougars. Right? So it's a little scary. But he came back this morning. Yay! But you will actually find somebody who cares. To hear about all those crazy things that happen in your day. Who wants to have conversations about that? Because living your life, it's valuable and it's important and it matters. And when you find people who are able to hear you, they'll want to hear about all those crazy things. But every now and then you're going to hit a spot where nobody really is there to listen to all those silly things, right? That there's nobody to text at 1 a.m. And then if you had walked out on that deck and met a cougar, people would only care about the story later. Because that's just the way it is. That is what change brings. Nothing is impervious to change. People either grow together or they grow a little separately and then they meet back up. And, or in my case, you grow to realize that you were in an abusive relationship that was absolute fucking hell and you get rid of it. All right, my friends, that is all I have for you today on the topic of change. It looks like I have maybe pancakes waiting because I have a cute little girl standing in front of me, smiling like sunshine. And my friends, I hope you have an amazing day. I'll talk to you next time.